All right, so let's look at the level of consciousness. Let's look, what is consciousness? How are you connected to it? How can we look at, envision, or see consciousness playing out on our planet? Why is it that we say that you are but a fractal of the whole? That if we look at all of life, all of spirituality, you and I are fractals of God. How can that be? And why is it that humans can either access a lot of wisdom or very, very little? And usually when we think we have accessed all the wisdom, we have accessed very little. And when we think we have accessed less, we have actually accessed more. So let's look at this from a perspective. We have 2 or 3 different perspectives here. From the human standpoint, let's look at the use of words. We are using words to describe things, phenomena, happenings, occurrences. We are using words to describe energy flow, to describe what it feels like to be in love, to feel your inner love. We are using words to describe what the energy field around your body feels like, the tingles in your hands, the activation on in your wrists and in your palms of your hands. What does it feel like when you are being activated, when life is flowing through your hands into another person, into the universe? What does it feel like when you're accessing quantum field consciousness? So all of this, these are words describing something that cannot truly be described in words, right? So the Tao, which is that beautiful writing, the Tao Te Ching, the Tao says the Tao is the way that cannot be described. And if you think you can describe it, it is not the Tao, right? It's beautiful. I'm paraphrasing, but it's beautiful, as in the Tao that can be described is not the Tao. The Tao is a deep, deep, deep inner knowing, gnosis of the workings of our world, but not in words. It's a knowing that just comes through you. This knowing can be pointed towards in words, with words, but it can't be described truly in words. Because on some levels, if you look at the totality of our world, so even from the animal kingdom that we can look at, we look at ourselves as 2-leggeds, and bears are 2-leggeds, we have 4-leggeds, and we have winged, and we have finned. All these animals, we have the creepy crawlers, all these animals make up a part of our world. Their level of consciousness and awareness is also part of this world. So when you and I, from our human perspective, we're like, oh my God, I feel like I can understand so much. I can understand the whole world. And then I beg to ask you, well, do you know what the ant feels like? Do you know how the ant looks at the world? Do you know how the elephant looks at the world? Do you know what the whale or dolphin, how they see the world? Do you know how the wolf experiences the world? Can that come through you? Or can we recognize that we can perceive the world the way us humans perceive it, but probably not the totality of the world? Because the totality of the world would be to start recognizing our world from the consciousness level or perspective of the wolves, of the elephant, of the rhinoceros, of the lion, of the jaguar, or even from the tree, right? Look at it from a tree, from the lake, from the blade of grass. How do they perceive the world? Is there a perception going on in these other living beings on our planet? And then when it really comes down to it, how does the rock experience the world? How does the big Apu, the mountains, experience the world? Now we're starting to understand that this totality of our cosmos and our world, Brahman, cannot be understood by you and me. We cannot possibly grasp how the whole world works or sees itself or perceives itself. We can, however, understand more and more on how we as humans understand the world, and we can lend our consciousness to other beings. but we're still pretty limited. And of course, the scientific community will say, well, no, we understand how the world really works. No, we only understand it from a very limited perspective. We don't see the whole world. It's very, very fascinating how ignorant we really are, how arrogant we really are. So, from this perspective of seeing the totality of consciousness, when we're looking at it from the level of one single human, we can't even see ourselves through the eyes of another human, right? You don't know how other people see you. I don't know how you see me. I don't know. Right? So, but we think we can see through everything, right? So the beauty of this is it's not to say that we can't. It's not to say that we can't lend our consciousness and start to understand, deepen our understanding and our awareness. But to see the whole picture, I do not believe we can. We're not capable. Our minds, our energy is not capable of seeing the whole totality of everything. We might be able to grasp it and touch it, touch the void. And when we go on deep psychedelic journeys, or when we go deep in meditation or sound baths, we are able to tap into other realms. But this is still only from our perception. It's not from the totality. Brahman is all of it. So what I'm trying to say here is that we have to understand our limitations, that if we can see that we are just humans, it's going to be easier to understand that, oh, there's a whole world out there for us to explore, to understand. But we do not understand the whole world just because we think we understand how the atoms spin in a table. Because that's just one perspective of our planet, of our universe. So, one way to look at all of consciousness is to understand that, so from one human, to think that one human can understand all the different animals and all the different trees and all the different energies and entities in our world, from their perspectives, that we can understand what the world looks like, is somewhat hard to see, right? Now, another way to put this is to think of the oversoul, the all-knowing consciousness of everything that is. If you think about the internet, and you start to look at, okay, so we have the internet, we have something we call the cloud, the infamous cloud, which is, of course, all the gathered information from millions of different computers that are uploading its information into a cloud that is sort of existing, practically, physically on different servers, but we call it the cloud as if it is existing in a space, in a cloud above us. And from that perspective, we have a cloud that has billions of gigawatts of information, or gigabytes. And these billions of gigabytes of information, or terabytes, are, of course, we can see it's one computer. Try to understand the totality of that information on one computer. That would blow that computer to smithereens. It doesn't have the capacity to carry all the information in the cloud into one computer. But we have all these computers connected, feeding information, taking down and downloading and uploading information all the time. And then you have these server houses with thousands of servers that are just working on containing the information. Now, this has created this cloud that we spoke about. Each computer is connected to it. We call that the internet, right? And each computer is connected to the internet. If we think of that as a reflection, a manifestation of human consciousness, a manifestation that you and I have a higher self connected up into the sphere, the ether of our world, where all the Akashic records, all knowing consciousness lives, the oversoul, up there, right? Our soul connects up to it through the chakra system. But I am like one computer connecting to the field, to the cloud. This is how you are connecting as one individual to the cloud. And you're downloading and uploading information all the time. The more we learn to listen in meditation and other things, It becomes easier to download information as well as upload information. So, and when we're uploading information, of course, we're starting to affect the field more consciously, more aware of what we want to create. So that is another way of looking at the same idea that words are not enough to describe the totality of energy, to describe what it feels like to move towards enlightenment, but they can be signposts, right? Words aren't enough, and then we see that one human can't understand all the animals and all the plants and all the trees and all the other entities on our planet. One human cannot understand that, just like one PC, one computer cannot understand the totality of the cloud. This is how we can start to identify and relate to our world. And I believe that even though, yes, we can understand a lot, and yes, we do become much more enlightened, the more we see that we are part of the whole, the more we become the whole, right? The less separation, the less we know that we are all the same and all connected, the more we know that, the less there's separation going on. This helps to raise your vibration. This helps to raise your frequency. So you suddenly start to understand more connections than you did before. And you start to be, oh, I can see connections I couldn't see before, and I feel different, and I feel more connected. While when you're still like working on you're being separated, then you are like that computer with a bad internet connection. The computer that's not connected to the internet very often, maybe just when it's asleep or something. Maybe the computer, when it's awake, is not connected to the internet, and it believes that it's all alone in this world, that it has to fight with other computers to stay alive. While when you connect up to the cloud, or in our case to consciousness, we start to see and realize that, oh, we are all the same. That the outsides, gender, skin color, have nothing to do with who you really are. Yes, we are walking this planet in this form, but there's no separation between skin colors or between genders. There has become separation, and that's what the powers to be wants, but there is no real separation. That's only when we're living in unconsciousness. So, almost like when we talk about identification, ethnic identification becomes a low vibration. It becomes a frequency of, I am like them because I was born this way or born that way. I am like them. And it takes away your free choice, takes away your personality, takes away who you think you are. Just identifying, for me, being born in Sweden and raised in Sweden, I'm Swedish, that's why I'm this way. I am Swedish, there's nothing else to me. And you're not Swedish, so you're a bad person. You're Norwegian, you're a bad person. Whatever it may be, right? You're Danish, So of course, that's not true. We have these internal jokes in Denmark and Sweden and Norway between the countries, and Finland, of course. But overall, we all get along really well. The fascinating thing is, if I stare blindly at I was born here and I think this way and therefore I am this way, and I'm not like you because you were born in another country and you have other habits than I do, therefore you are not like me. We are completely forgetting that we are all part of the same universe, that we are all part of the same Earth Mother, that the more we ground into Earth Mother and the more we download from Father Son, from the higher consciousness itself, we start to recognize that I am you and you are me. That there's a very beautiful non-dual saying, what's looking at you through my eyes is the same that's looking at me through your eyes. Very beautiful non-dual saying. So, I hope this shed a little bit of light on our level of awareness and consciousness, how this energetic field of consciousness is surrounding our globe as a big field of ether or quantum field, and how we are all connected through that field. And I'd like for you to just sit with that for a little bit. This is not the end-all talk of all of this, but it's a way to start to identify and also to look at how what I found interesting when we all started bad mouthing the internet, and then I started realizing, wait, hang on, the internet is just a reflection of what's going on in here already. The internet is a reflection of human consciousness. So the lower the internet is doing, the more unconscious behaviors, bad or heavier, darker energies we carry out. And the better we're doing in here in our hearts, the more we're raising the frequency even of the internet. So looking at the internet as a reflection of us, just like how the computers work with how they store memory and how they function, is very similar to how our brains are built up, right? And the same thing goes for how our world works, goes in the spiritual energetic way, goes the same way for how the internet and the computers work together. It's really interesting and fascinating, isn't it? All right. I hope this made sense to you. If you felt like this spoke to you and you like it, please like and subscribe. Join the channel. And I wish you a beautiful, lovely week. There'll be more videos coming out really soon. Namaste and aho.